So a video by Pepper has set the community on fire, and I for one am not for letting that burn out. To explain this mess of a commentary chain, Dan STEIN made a video called Spyro the Bug Boy is Trying to Start Shit, which Kratos then covered. Dan responded to that video, and that video got covered by Slumber. Pepper then commentated on that video, and Toast Tech commentated on Pepper. Slumber then commentated on that video, and then Halofan commentated on that. And Halofan's video will be the one we're covering. Or at least, you think that. I'm actually going to be making points against literally everyone in this chain, because everybody has at least something that I can point out. And I'm going to avoid calling out Dan so much because I've already made a video on him. With my mindless babbling out of the way, let's get into the commentary.
All I want to do.
The audio right here changes volume fairly significantly. This might not seem like much of a problem, but the amount that you set your volume to actually dictates how loud people will set their volume to hear you. Changing how loud and quiet your video is will actually risk someone setting their volume to too high or too low. Too high might actually hurt their ears, and too low means they won't be able to hear you.
Okay, so let me get some things out of the way before we start this video. I thought the video...
No context to what's going on? Like, Halofan, it would probably be best to put some context at the beginning of your video so that the audience knows what's going on. Otherwise, they're going to spend the entire video as confused as I was when I started this. Now granted, Slumber gave no context either, but at least she made an attempt. And besides, that would be an issue on her end.
The way before we start this video, I thought the video that they made was overall pretty good, but I had some problems with it. Yeah, so without...
Why are you leaving that in the video when it adds absolutely nothing to it? This isn't necessary context, this isn't a point that you actually interject. So there's no point in leaving it in. And as hard as it can be to remember, you still have to comply with fair use with these things. And using more than what you need is one of the fastest ways to break fair use law.
Information is that, Spyro doesn't want me to...
I know a lot of people have brought this up already, but Pepper, this is way too fast. I know that Dan speaks fairly slowly, but this is getting so fast that it can sometimes be hard to make out what Dan is saying. It doesn't help that Kratos' audio and Slumber's audio aren't great either, which means it can be quite difficult to hear both of them, especially with the speed.
Spyro doesn't want me to bring any friends to his next stream.
That was like the reason to say the debate between you and him, it's going to be not just a debate between you and your friends.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I'm not sure who's making the video go faster, but whoever is, a message, you need to chill the fuck out. It's not a race. Who knows, maybe I'm just retarded, but it's going way too fast for me to understand it.
Couldn't you have just slowed it down in editing and watched it while you were editing the video?
That isn't debunking Toast's actual criticism. First of all, not everybody has access to an editor that would allow them to do that. You could argue that YouTube allows you to do that, but the speeds they give are specific, whereas editing softwares often give a much less specific speed. On top of that, why should the audience have to work to make the video better? It's on the creator to make the video good, not the audience. Obviously, this one criticism doesn't make the video instantly bad, but that doesn't mean that the audience should have to take over and improve the video. You could even argue that there are those who actually prefer to listen to the video while they're doing something else who don't really have the time to go over and slow the video's speed and then speed it back up.
You were editing the video? That would have been really easy to do, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. The original video is sped up. Yeah, try watching that during its editing phase. It's not gonna be pretty.
So you didn't actually address what she was saying. What you said was that the video was sped up and that you should try watching that. And then Slumber offers a solution. You didn't debunk the solution, but instead you just said that the video was fast and effectively called it unwatchable. That helps Slumber's argument.
Or the more likely option being that they're basically trying to publicly humiliate me on their stream. No, that's wrong.
If anybody was being publicly humiliated, sure, it would be you, but that would be your own doing. So actually, please, shut up. Nobody friggin' asked.
Slumber, just because Dan did some horrible things doesn't excuse how they're publicly humiliating him.
Well, no, he'd be humiliating himself if he went on there. He could just act like a normal person, but nah, he decides not to, and that's how he gets humiliated. When he goes over to the streams and just screams and makes a fool out of himself, it's not Spyro's.
The problem with Slumber's video, and the problem that Pepper was pointing out with that point, was that Slumber didn't try to debunk the notion that Dan was getting publicly humiliated, so Pepper had to go by the logic. He even puts in his notes that he disagrees with the public humiliation statement. Pepper wasn't trying to argue whether he gets publicly humiliated or not, he was trying to argue that Slumber didn't actually say anything that either A, justified what they were doing, or B, debunk the notion that he was getting publicly humiliated.
It's not Spyro's fault.
Yeah, that's not his fault, but the point Pepper was making was that if other people are publicly humiliating, there's no real excuse for that. Even if he has done horrible things, which he has, and we all know that.
Can you provide any evidence or screenshots? No? Okay.
She might have said that Dan has done terrible things, but that was a statement that was completely unrelated to the rest of the video. It wasn't even her argument. Why should she provide evidence for something that wasn't even her argument to begin with? You're basically asking her to prove an argument that she didn't even make. I think it would have been smarter of her not to say that. But for all the relevance it held over her point, it might as well have been a joke. I mean, it has roughly the same importance.
You can probably kill a pedophile or a rapist because of what they did, but that doesn't excuse that you killed the guy.
Pepper, bro, please tone it down. This isn't a good comparison. Why are you comparing internet drama to straight up fucking murder? Jeez, dude, chill the fuck out.
Why isn't this a good comparison? You don't go and explain it. Is it extreme? Is it disproportional? What is the reason that this is not a good comparison? You aren't explaining what's actually bad about this comparison. On which planet does this count as criticism?
He's not comparing drama to murder. Did you only watch this video once? I think you did.
Did everyone in this situation get taught that no argument was the best argument? Halofan, why is this not a comparison? You could say Slumber didn't argue that it was a comparison, or at least she didn't argue why it was a comparison, and that debunks her point. But you don't argue that. You just say, nah. Can we please add more to this than the typical playground, yes it is, no it isn't, please?
What? Okay, so you compare somebody getting humiliated on a stream that somebody will forget about in like 2 days to killing somebody.
Toast, nobody forgot about several times Dan has humiliated himself on stream. The Fight Night stream has been brought up for weeks on end. The internet never forgets is the phrase.
Not going to interject that point? Then what was the point of keeping that point up if you're not going to interject it?
Yeah, I agree, but why are you talking during the video? It's very difficult to listen to both at once, so I'm either gonna miss the context or your point. You could say it's an editing fail, but that can easily be curbed by double-checking your videos or having someone watch them before they go public.
No, that's wrong! Dan, I'm pretty sure it would be the other way around, but go off, I guess.
No explanation as to why this is an issue, nor counteracting what he is saying. Okay, I guess.
I mean, you could just look at one of the streams that he's in. Now, granted, she probably should have showed some clip of him doing it.
Once more, it is not on the audience to provide the content, and in this case, the evidence. It's on the original creator. Also, the stream that you are talking about, or at least the main streams, are all down. The only stream on Dan that's left up is Hiroshimaru's. This is a perfect example of why your video should have evidence and not use an outside source unless you absolutely have to. So instead of linking to somebody else's video, keep to your own because that video may go down at some point.
It's such a big deal.
The main stream being referred to has been deleted and or privated, likely the first one, even after making this video for you, so no, it's not that easy to find, even if it has been archived. Also, my point was invalid, as Pepper said, because forcing the audience to do the legwork, or I guess they would already have had to have seen what I was referring to know what I was talking about.
Yeah, because agreeing with someone is so funny, XD.
Welcome to Halofan's home of no point whatsoever in that interjection. Maybe this was a joke or something, but it was executed fairly poorly, so it doesn't really come across as a joke and just comes across as painful. And the audience doesn't want to stare down your throat. And it's not just you, the audience doesn't want to stare down anyone's throat. Maybe if you zoomed in on your eye or something instead, at least then I wouldn't be forced to look at your throat.
Judging by the other streams that he made, like, basically, like, in those streams, what was going on?
Does Dan know what a retake is? Does he know what a script is? Does he know what editing out his stuttering is? Dan, this makes the video much longer than it should be, because it's just bloated with a whole lot of nothing all the time.
He's basically just watching my videos, and then saying, you know, that, oh, this video sucks.
I agree with that.
Dan, your videos suck ass. Shut the fuck up, please.
Okay, I've waited to talk about this. Slumber, most of your points are either insulting Dan and not actually arguing. Like, if you're gonna make a commentary, then can you talk about issues with the video instead of comment attacks? Please.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were the fun police.
Just because it's fun doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do or that it's good. It flies in the face of what commentary is as a genre. Commentary isn't just insulting people. Commentary is supposed to be an analyzing the faults and merits of a particular work. And insulting doesn't really have a place in there. Mind you, an insult can spice up your content, but when that becomes your entire point, that's the problem.
Just whether it's fun or not, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Commentaries are supposed to give constructive criticism. Pepper's point was that I wasn't giving enough of it and just throwing insults at Dan, which was not the point of a commentary. The point of a commentary is to give some constructive criticism. Saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what you were the fun police wasn't really constructive criticism on your end. It was mostly just insulting him.
First of all, step away from the mic. Your breathing actually hurt me first time round. Secondly, his I didn't know you were the fun police was a sarcastic way of saying that Pepper was over-exaggerating a problem that didn't even exist in the first place.
And that's what you were doing to Dan Stein. You were actually insulting him throughout the whole entire video. So, can you not insult the person you're commentating on? Please!
That's literally just what she said she did wrong and what she said Toast shouldn't do. Either this was a point you were trying to make against Slumber's older video, which doesn't work because she's changed her perspective on it, or you were trying to call hypocrisy without actually debunking her point, which is, you know, an appeal to a hypocrisy. Appeal to hypocrisy is basically a fallacy where you call someone on their hypocrisy instead of actually debunking their point. If you're gonna do both, just like with insulting, go for it. But if that's your entire point, then maybe you should try something else. Calling someone out in their hypocrisy and not actually debunking them has more of a place in rant videos.
Peace.
So, post Pepper here, and I decided while editing to read what the skip card says, even if I barely understand cursive. We're skipping further into the video because I actually hate this video so much. Not only are Dan's points fucking awful, but he has a, what does it even say? I don't know why. I kid you not. They've been harassing me on my Discord, telling me that I suck. Why? Why would that be a reason for you to skip further into the video? That makes no goddamn sense.
At the beginning, she mentions that Dan's points are awful, and she also mentions that she hates the video. Now, bear in mind, I do think that she should have left the latter part out, as it can make the skip card a bit confusing. But the reason that I can get from this is that she hates the video.
Something that you have an issue with, like, you can just point it out. If you cannot word it correctly, then that would make sense. But if not, then point it out.
Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe she didn't have enough time, or she didn't want to?
Has it ever crossed your mind, Toasty, that maybe, just maybe, assuming my intent wasn't the best option to do in this?
He wasn't assuming your intent, he was simply just trying to either guess or show Pepper maybe an example of why you didn't commentate on that bit. The bigger crime this video committed though is now making me really hungry for toasty.
I skipped part of the video was because I hated the video. And I still kind of do, not gonna lie.
If you hate the video that you're commenting on, why not just disown the video? Or better yet, delete the video, or scrap the video, or scrap the project.
She was talking about her own video, and she can't disown the video of, say, Dan. She can't disown a video that doesn't belong to her. She can't delete it either. And scrapping the project would be going against exactly what Slumber wanted most. Now, granted, Slumber, if you're going to commentate on a video, either commentate on the full thing or give an actual decent reason as to why you're skipping it. But Halofan, you can't just expect her to scrap the project just because the video is bad.
Yeah, this could very well so damage me horribly. And
So how is your YouTube reputation going to determine anything here, Dan? I'm just asking, like, is your YouTube reputation your life?
I don't disagree with this point, I just want to point out, Kratos, that a phone mic is better than a computer mic. Of course, I don't know if you're using a computer mic, but the audio is very poor. There are ways to get around this, but if you don't want to pay, KineMaster has a free version. You can record audio on there and it should come across as better than regular computer audio. I don't personally use KineMaster to record, but that's because I barely noticed the difference between my KineMaster recordings and the recordings I already got.
okay, let's just say, for example, one of my haters sees me in real life and ends up physically harming me. Yeah, that would be a problem, now wouldn't it?
And
There is no reason for you to believe that they're crazy enough to actually risk jail time in order to assault you. And plus, many people got more hate than you do. For example, T-Moss Boss got a lot more hate than you did for a lot longer. Yet nobody has assaulted him. Onision's been getting hate for years, but nobody's assaulted him to my knowledge. It's very unlikely that you'll actually get assaulted. I won't say impossible, but it's very unlikely. And if you were to get assaulted, I doubt it would be by the people who have been making streams on you online.
and this is relevant how?
His point is explaining how this can also lead to his real life with this hypothetical. Are you paying attention as to what he's saying, Slumber? Like, are my ears made out of cake or something? Because I'm pretty sure that everything is made out of cake. You're probably made out of cake. Is this...
Okay, sorry for my speech impediment. Reputation. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I can't say it. I think his is damaged enough as it is, to where even if he does humiliate himself for like the 1000th time on a stream, it wouldn't change that much.
Pepper has never said that he actually agreed with Dan. He was pointing out why Dan's point was important. He was explaining the relevance, since Slumber was asking how it was relevant. Also, Pepper, everything's made out of cookies, not cakes.
Now, I'm going to touch on Pepper's point first, and then I'm going to get to Toast Tex. So, Pepper, I asked that was relevant how, because nobody in his real life would really know who he is. And even though he exposed his face to the internet, there are dangers with that, so that's his own fault for exposing his face to the world. If he didn't want to do that, he didn't have to, but he chose to.
The relevance was that Dan was explaining why this might have a negative impact on him. Now granted, that doesn't mean that he's right, but at the same time he doesn't have to be right for his point to be relevant. The point was still relevant to the video, as it was explaining why what's happening to him is bad.
Chose to.
Was his personal information leaked to the internet?
Both his name and face are public to the internet. And no, Dan is not actually his real name. Also, if you're saying that that means that Dan is at no risk, then that isn't exactly true. Doxing is an existing thing. Also, I love how much this argument's derailed. It went from how is this relevant to is Dan in actual danger. It's like a game of Chinese whispers.
If you guys are wondering, you guys want to know why he's doing this shit? All because I yelled at him. Twice.
I would argue that that's less bad considering he didn't actually out you as a terrible person until you gave him a reason to.
One of those times I was there, actually. I think your exact words were, "I'm going to dox you and I'm going to murder your family." Don't act like that's some minor shit. Like, what you threatened him could actually give you jail time, and you know that. Of course, I don't have the recording on me right now, but I could still tell you that I have multiple witnesses that can confirm this, and if you want them, I can get them on call. Just don't downplay what you've done, man.
Just some future advice to you, Kratos. Maybe show the people confirming this. The only reason I'm saying this is if Dan had actually denied it, you'd be in a game of Hitchens Razor, which by association would mean that we'd have to assume that Dan is actually not guilty, because you failed to show evidence of him being guilty. Now, if you had shown these witnesses, and Dan tried to claim that this didn't happen, we'd actually be in a game of Occam's Razor. And to tell you how that would go, it takes way less assumptions to assume that Dan is lying than all 4 people, or however many you actually ended up getting, are all lying, thus meaning that he would be guilty.
Okay, so technically speaking, I did not say that to him. Now, granted, I did say that.
Well done admitting to something that you could have easily avoided. Now we know Kratos is telling the truth. Of course, this doesn't excuse that Kratos didn't show any evidence in his video, but you admitted to something that could have been easily avoided. And if you weren't saying it to Spyro, who the hell were you saying it to? The Void?
Lying or something. Like,
I don't buy it. If you're in a call with somebody and you yell that, who do you think he's yelling it at? People don't just randomly say that out of nowhere, not talking to anybody.
Okay, so I'm just gonna address mostly Pepper's point because I agree with Toastek's point for the most part. So, Pepper, he admitted to saying it, and whether he said it to anybody or not, if you said it in a call, it could come off as a threat, and it likely was. And the fact that you're saying, like...
He was simply pointing out why Dan included this section in the video. Once more, he never said that he actually agreed with Dan.
Okay, first off, how was Dan Stein's point was a threat? How?
Because he said he was going to dox Spyro and murder his family. What is that if not a threat?
Alright, I'm ending this video off right here because everyone else gets the final thoughts, and I will get my final thoughts.
Oh, thank God, I can finally end this. As for final thoughts, Dan, I personally don't like you, and my final thoughts are in my last video. Kratos, show more evidence, and if you can't show evidence, show the people confirming what you've said, and that's really my only issue with your video outside of the obvious audio issues. Slumber, well, you've already learnt from your first commentary, but make sure that you understand what people are actually saying, and this applies to Toast and Halofan as well. Also, try and improve your audio quality. Toast, make sure you understand what people are saying as well. But I will applaud you for going against the popular opinion that Pepper's video was perfect. Halofan, make sure you understand your target's points, and make sure that you can actually make arguments that add or make sense to what's going on. Obviously, make sure that you ask people to show proof when it's appropriate, not when it's not. And overall, outside of Dan, I don't personally dislike anyone in this chain. In fact, a lot of them are my friends. My final thoughts for real are, oh my gosh, I hate this chain so much.